My name is Marcia Ryu. I'm the co-director of Disability Rights Promotion International. I have with me as well Rados Kivera, who's in Budapest, Hungary at the moment. So both of us will be facilitating this webinar, and we really appreciate that you've decided to join us today. Finally, we are live and accessible, something we have worked hard to make happen. CART is being provided during the webinar, and an accessible version of the PowerPoint presentation can be found for download in the handout section of the webinar platform, as well as on the DRPI website. At the end of the presentation, there will be an option to ask questions. You can do this by using the question box on your screen, or you can email the questions to drpi.questions@gmail.com. We'll be monitoring those questions. An accessible version of the PowerPoint is available in the handout section of the webinar. The PowerPoint presentation, webinar video, and transcript will be available at the end of the webinar on the DRPI website. Please feel free to use those. We have 4 other regional coordinators for this project who are not on the call at this time, but they are on 4 other continents. For almost 15 years, I and a group of other people with disabilities from around the world have worked at DRPI to develop a way for you to monitor or track your own rights. We have tried this out in more than 50 countries around the world to make sure it works well, and to make sure it can be done by people in their own countries and in their own communities. That work was done in face-to-face, train-the-trainers modules. Now we have decided that we should put this up on an accessible website so everyone can access it, and you can put it to practice if you want to. So what is monitoring? Monitoring really is simple. It's finding out what's going on. It's finding the real facts. It's uncovering information. It's collecting data. It's using indicators to measure progress. Most important of all, it's measuring progress towards justice for people with disabilities. But we really want you to be able to do this monitoring yourself. Rights are only achieved when the people most affected can monitor them themselves. You know best what your life is like. You know the difference between rights on paper and rights in your lives because you live it every day. Rights work if you can tell the authorities and the service providers in your country and internationally what is working and what is not working. Then together, country by country, we can achieve our goals of a world of inclusion for people with disabilities. The approach we use is a somewhat distinctive approach. It ensures people with disabilities and their organizations play a central role. It ensures cross-disability involvement, so we're no longer split into our disabilities. It encourages capacity building and sustainability in the field of monitoring. It considers human rights principles when accessing rights, and it produces evidence-based monitoring reports that can't be ignored. Each step is clearly outlined, and this how-to should provide the details you need to follow this. We have worked with hundreds of people with disabilities throughout the world on every continent to make this way of monitoring accessible and usable, and to introduce your participation as key to the work. Within the online training, you will find that we've documented 3 types of monitoring, which together make up what we call participatory, inclusive monitoring. If you need our help, we understand and we're happy to assist you, or you can find others in your own community to work with. We don't think that others monitoring your rights is very helpful. You need to understand what is being promised by governments and by organizations and by international bodies, so that you can begin to frame your demands for a better world for people with disabilities. Let us try and walk through what makes up the DRPI Hub and how you can use it. We will follow up with question and answer sessions to help clarify anything that isn't clear for you. And we will keep holding question and answer sessions as long as you need those. But you can also send us your questions directly if that is helpful. First, Radosh and I will lead you through the 7 training modules for learning how to do your own monitoring or tracking of rights in your community. Second, we will explore the rights library we were making available to you. And third, we will explore a way for you to tell your own story online so you can share your own experience. Let's go through the hub then and see how it works. Radosh, you're going to lead us through the DRPI modules.
Thank you, Marcia, so much. Hello to everybody on my behalf. It would be my pleasure to explore along with you all the features that you can find on the DRPI website and to walk you through the methodology itself in a bit more details. In the first part, we will explore the training modules as part of the e-learning platform the DRPI is using to build capacities of people with disabilities and their representative organizations to monitor their own rights. So in the DRPI hub in the website, you can actually find a learning platform with 7 training modules containing all monitoring tools and instruments that we have developed throughout our research when we've been monitoring disability rights along with our partners in countries where we worked. The training modules provide, as I said, monitoring tools. They're explaining what kind of techniques and processes we are using to have the understanding of the reality of people with disabilities, and actually leading you step by step through all the phases in holistic participatory monitoring, as we are calling our approach that we are using. So let's move further. Can I ask you to switch the slide because somehow my mouse is not responding? Great. So about the training modules, as I said, there are in total 7 interactive training modules. We invested quite an effort to make all the modules accessible and to render this e-learning experience as much as interactive as possible, and you will be met with all the features that we have developed in the online platform as well. But to give you a short introduction about the modules and how do they look like, they're broken down into topics and lessons. So we'll have the chance to go through the DRPI Hub website all together and to see how the topics and lessons look like. And there are a number of graphics, videos, examples, stories, quizzes in each of the topics and lessons that are enabling this interactive learning experience. Oh, my mouse is a bit too responsive, but 7 modules that I have just mentioned to you, they are DRPI holistic participatory methodology. Here you can see on this slide the full list of DRPI modules, and I'll just briefly tackle each of those. Module 1 is giving the short introduction to human rights, disability, and monitoring, explaining to users what is the position of disability rights within the global human rights debates, what is monitoring, what are the types of disabilities, what are the types of barriers that people with disabilities are faced with, what are the types of disabilities, and how is discrimination against people with disabilities happening, and what are the possible causes. So first module is there to meet all the users with the notion of disability rights and why the monitoring exercise it's useful by itself. In the second module, we start to explore concrete monitoring tools that DRPI is using to monitor the rights of people with disabilities, and the second module tackles first component of DRPI's monitoring, and that's individual experiences monitoring. In this model, users have the opportunity to learn how to conduct the in-depth interviews with people with disabilities. Our methodology relies on qualitative research, so we are paying quite a huge attention to getting the stories from people with disabilities, having conversation with them, and using this this interview to get insight in reality directly from people with disabilities. So throughout this model, users are learning how to conduct the interview, how to obtain free and informed and legal consent from the interviewee, how to impose the questions, what kind of questions to use, how to avoid to be suggestive in the conversation. We're exploring all the technical aspects as well that leads to having one successful interview and a good outcome. In the second module as well, as you will see later, you will be able to download either PDFs or Word files containing all forms, tools that I was just mentioning, form for a free and informed consent, information leaflet, and etc. The tools for setting up focus groups, for example. So I believe that would be quite concrete and useful for those wishing to engage in monitoring. In the module 3, we are sharing our experiences from collaboration with disabled people's organizations on the ground, how to logistically organize monitoring in the field, how to choose the sample of interviewees, how to balance that sample in terms of gender, types of disabilities, socioeconomic indicators, and etc. So it's a section for tips and tricks and concrete advices for those who are about to conduct research in the field, how to actually set it up, how to choose the location of the interview, how to provide disability-related accommodations for both interviewees and interviewers, because we insist that people with disabilities are actually those who are not only giving information, but those who are conducting research, who are conducting the interview. In the model 4, we are tackling challenges of conducting systemic monitoring, which is, let's say, a more traditional aspect of monitoring, exploring how and programs are taking care of implementing people with disabilities. Also over there you will find useful concrete tools that we have been using in our research, like for example systemic template, which contains detailed metrics with a number of questions and indicators that we developed for all articles of UNCRPD, that is helping researchers when making the assessment of national laws and policies, what are the particular items that they should pay attention for. In Model 5, the third component of DRPI holistic monitoring is explored, and that is media monitoring. In this component, we want to see how media are reporting on issues of disability. Here we are including both quantitative research instruments and qualitative research instruments. By quantitative, I mean there is a list of detailed bibliographic variables. For example, when collecting the media articles, including how many words are in the story, in which section in the newspapers or the magazine is disability story positioned, whether there is photo or no, how many media companies are included in the research, what is the company that is reporting most often and most frequent on disability. So we are trying to capture that quantitative data. Interesting part and equally important is qualitative aspect of the research, and that is actually looking at the article which appeared in the media on disability and analyzing what kind of model of reporting is being used in that article. Whether media are using the model of medical model or charity model, or they're leaning more towards human rights model. It's particularly useful to see and to conclude whether media are actually influencing elimination of prejudices and stereotypes towards people with disabilities, or they are actually supporting their existence. So that would be the outcome of this part of the DRPI's monitoring. Module 6, creating a holistic report, actually tells the researchers how to combine the findings of all three elements that I just mentioned. Elements from Module 2, 4, and 5, from individual experiences monitoring, from systemic monitoring, and for media monitoring. How do we combine them in a one holistic report? How do they interact between each other? And how do we organize data to have very detailed and realistic picture of reality of disability rights in the country? For example, we recognize what are the hot issues, as we call it in the country. What are the priorities for people with disabilities that they were mentioning most frequently in the interviews? That might be, for example, access to social services. And then we are tackling this issue from the filter of all three parts of the monitoring. We are taking a look what people in interviews said about access to social services, what are the findings when analyzing existing laws and policies, and whether media are reporting on that issue and what kind of model they're using. So this holistic report is not only a summary of the findings, but actually interaction between. In the model set, discussing how to use the data obtained through monitoring and what good could it make when trying to achieve social justice. So we are actually revealing to participants what kind of instruments do they have on their disposal when using the monitoring findings. What kind of actions could they undertake on national level, and what kind of actions could they take at international level, including relevant regional and international, outlining how reporting mechanisms towards those bodies are functioning. Now we would go together through DRPI Hub, through website itself, to show you how the website itself look like and how the training, how the online training is organized, so you can see all the features that the website is containing. So now I believe that you all see on your screens the home page of DRPI Hub. The headline is DRPI Hub, Holistic Rights Monitoring Online. That's where we are positioned currently. Here, where I'm showing with my mouse, you can see the address and the link which leads you to this web page, drpihub.research.yourq.ca. So DRPI Hub contains 3 components, which you see in these 3 blue squares. First component that we are just going to explore is training models, and second is rights library, which we will talk about a little bit later, and the third one is Your Story Matters, which Marcia will tell you more about a little bit later. For the beginning, let's go together through first component, which is training models. So I'll just click on it. And the web page with the training models is just being opened, and here you can see the introductory video of our co-director Marcia Ryu, and also underneath another video message from our other co-director, Mr. Ben Lindquist, ex-UN Special Rapporteur on disability. I would particularly draw your attention to accessibility features. Underneath each of the videos appearing in the online platform, here you see where I positioned my cursor, my mouse. You have the transcript of video. So just clicking on the transcript button, the text appears with a detailed transcript of what Mr. Lindquist is saying here in the video. So I'm sure this will be useful for those who need such feature. So in the lower part of the screen, you see a detailed list of training models. 7 models are here, 7 ones that I was just explaining you, and every new user hope that everybody has the opportunity to explore this platform. You're required to register, which is quite simple and straightforward. You create your username and your password upon clicking here where I position my mouse to register. So it's completely free for everybody who wishes to use this platform to register and to have full and unlimited access to all training models. Without registering, you have access only to first training model. So I would invite you to register. I will just type my login details now so we can log in together and explore training models. And the DRPI Hub web page is opened upon I logged in, and I will click on the training models component. Now I'm logged in with my details, and I have full access to all training models, and simply here I'm choosing model 1. So each text underlined and bolded is actually a link that you can click on. And now the e-learning experience is starting. You're being led to first model, and you can see how does it look like. Here is in the yellow is also outlined, and you're reminded that each model contains lessons and topics. So each lesson contains topics, and you can move to further lesson and to further module only upon completion, upon completing of previous lesson and previous module. So for example, to move yourself to module 2, you will have to complete full module 1 with all belonging lessons and topics. After some particular topics, you will find quizzes that are not only assessing your knowledge or the progress, but actually making the e-learning experience more attractive and more interesting and fun. So you will have the opportunity to see how those quizzes look like. But here underneath, you're displayed course content. So you see in the first module, there are 3 lessons. Lesson 1, Lesson 2, Lesson 3. Each of these lessons is containing subtopics within the lessons. So we can click here in the course content on the Lesson 1, and actually there you're starting with the very content. One important thing to remember is that after going through each of the topics and lessons, here we open the lesson 1 and it contains topics 1.1 and topic 2.2. So we click on topic 1.1 to open it and to start it. So as I said, upon completing every topic, you're actually asked to click on the Mark Complete button underneath. I will show you later on. So this action is needed so you can move to next topic and next lesson. So please don't forget, after completing each of the topics, you are always being asked in the bottom of the page to click the Mark Complete button. So the topic 1.1 starts, and here in this text we will not go through all details, but we throughout whole e-learning platform we've been trying to provide the data and the useful external links which are bringing users to some useful website like UN Enable, World Health Organization, useful resources, publications, and reports published on disability. So you see these underlined, bolded texts. These are links that you can click on, and it leads you to, for example, UNICEF Children and Young People with Disabilities fact sheet or other resources. I'm totally convinced that you'll find useful that you have so many resources here in the one place, and we will explore together later the rights library, another component of the DRPI hub, which contains also publications and useful reports. But to get back to features of e-learning part, you see that we've been trying to insert some videos that are supporting claims from the text that participants can watch. They're all accessible. There is transcript for each of the videos, so everybody can access what video is saying. So normally here in the bottom, after this yellow square, you will have Mark Complete button that you will be asked to click on it before going to next topic. Here we can't see it because I logged in with my login details, so I already went through this topic and it's already completed. So that's why Mark Complete button is not appearing, because I clicked on it a long time before. So, but when you're first time positioned in particular topic, then you're actually having the opportunity to click on the Mark Complete button. This was the topic 1.1, and as I said, each module and each lesson contains topics, and of course we will not go through all of them. But in this demonstration, I will just now show you how one of the quizzes looks like. Quiz belonging to topic 1.1. This is the quiz with the questions. The questions are formulated in a way that they are offering multiple choice. There are just a couple of questions, like 4 to 6 questions maximum in each of the quizzes. And here, when giving the answer, you're simply checking the box in front of the answer. I'm just clicking on the random checkboxes, so you see how the answers are submitted and how can you check your results. So I will just submit, and upon submitting each of the quizzes, you are actually given, you are being given the feedback, how many answers are correct, and here underneath there is a breakdown of your answers, like what answer you provided and what is the correct answer, so you can actually assess how successful you were, and you can check your knowledge in this way and play around a little bit, and I hope you will find it fun after doing the reading to have this small exercise. Here underneath there is an option to share your results on Facebook and Twitter to brag to people and to promote what you're doing and to promote the DRPI platform, of course. So basically this is how all modules are conceptualized, having in mind, of course, that they're dealing with the different topics and covering different issues. As I said, in module 2, I will just scroll up. You actually explore the concrete monitoring tools that we developed for interviewing people with disabilities. So you can also navigate through modules here in the navigation pane where I'm positioned right now, positioning your mouse on training modules, and then the following menu is appearing, and you can select here module 2 and exploring its content. We posted links for download for downloading the forms and the checklists that I was mentioning. For example, questionnaire for doing the interviews, or form for free and informed consent. So when you open particular lessons that are explaining how to do the interview and explaining how to use interview guide, you're actually being able to download the forms from over there. I won't open now all the lessons from other modules. I will just remind you, when you're positioned in the new module, you have to click on this green button, which is saying take this course, where I'm positioned right now. So you can have access to that module. Also, having in mind that you're expected that you have completed previous one. Shortly, just to move through other tabs in the navigation pane. This second tab where I'm positioned now, I hope you all see, is the tab for forms and checklists. So beside having forms and checklists in the module itself, you have them here piled up together. So you have all our monitoring tools right here in this section outside of the text. So here you see the checklist of the equipment. What do we have to bring to interview and to focus groups? For example, audio recorders, batteries, or logistical kind of things, and questionnaires, form for a consent. Everything is placed here. So there you have it to download and to see how it looks like. Third button is frequent answers and questions. Many questions that you maybe have now, perhaps they're already answered in this part. So I invite you to explore this section, and those answers that you cannot find here, as Marcia said, you can direct to us through this webinar. In the next section, there is a brief text about the purpose and about online platform itself, and about disability monitoring, the approach which DRPI is using. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. Here, this last button actually one before last, DRPI main site is actually leading you to our main website outside of DRPI hub, which is for training and for rights library. Here you can have access to our website with news, publications, all regional centers, and etc. etc. So this was shortly about features of DRPI Hub, this e-learning platform. Also here you have the links to our social network accounts, DRPI Facebook page, Twitter, and YouTube channels, so you can navigate to those directly from here. I would now ask my colleagues to move back to PowerPoint, and I believe that Marcia will go with you through your story component of DRPI Hub. So
that's great. Thanks a lot, Radoš. I just want to mention there's one other feature that might be useful to many of you. That's the translate feature, which is on the bottom right-hand side of your screen at this time. You'll see that we have used translate feature for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 countries, 8 different languages. So feel free to use that to see how helpful that is. The other, thing that's very important, I think, are the display preferences that are at the top of your screen. There you can change the text size, or you can change the text style. So if those are useful to you, we just want to make sure that you know where they are and how to find them. I just want to say a little bit, if we go back to the hub, to the hub so that we can look at the sections. There is a section on the hub that shows the training modules, and then the rights library, and then Your Story Matters. Your Story Matters is actually a feature that allows you to tell your own story. It's a self-guided interview, so it provides the opportunity for you to share your experiences and to tell your story. You'll be asked to write answers to a number of questions related to your daily life, so that we can understand, so that you can understand what your life looks like in relation to the other findings in the study. Today we won't do that, but I recommend that you go through and look very carefully. You need a password to be able to access this particular feature, and to get a password to access the website, you need to be part of a study in your country. And the project coordinator gives you access to this particular feature. However, so that what you can do is find a group of people who are going to do a study, or you can find a study that's already ongoing in your country, and then you'll be able to get access, and then your voice is heard. These stories are really important because they ensure that in our monitoring we hear the voices of people with disabilities. We're not just looking for the voices of governments or of organizations or of families or of friends or of caregivers or of experts. It's your story which really tells us what's going on the ground. And it's very important to get those stories told, because we can compare what all of those other official stories say by looking at what's really in your life and what really happens in your life. Radoš, I think you were going to talk a bit about the rights library that's also on the hub.
Exactly. Thank you, Marcia. The rights library, which is another component of DRPI Hub, contains literature and materials related to disability rights from all around the world, which is electronically searchable by search criteria that we enabled. And also it includes reports from our studies based on our DRPI monitoring methodology from all the countries where we have worked. You can search the resources by literature type, region, gender, disability type, population, particular issue or human rights principles that we're using, and those are dignity, autonomy, non-discrimination, equality, respect for diversity, and participation, inclusion, and accessibility principles from preamble of UNCRPD. We are going to get back to DRPI Hub at this moment and explore together how Rights Library looks like. So this is the second blue square where you can click, and then the page with the search criteria is being open. So here below, when I scroll down, you see the search engine saying search for articles, and here you see the search options. You can either type the tag or the text and search using this text, or you can check the box for literature types. For example, it could be either DRPI reports or UN publications or other rights literature. You can explore the database with the criteria of regions, Europe, North America, Africa, and others, gender, disability type, particular populations. We did studies focusing on indigenous people, people living with HIV and AIDS, youth, or some particular issues, life domains like social participation, income security and support services, family life, work, education, health and rehabilitation, access to justice, information and communication. Those are 8 life domains that we are using in qualitative analysis of the interviews that we are conducting in our research studies. Finally, you can also use search criteria of human rights principles that I recently mentioned, and simply choosing some options, like for example, I'm interested in social participation, principle of autonomy in DRPI reports and UN publications, and I click on Search Library Now button, and there underneath in the search results, I'm offered all the publications which are having something with those search criteria. Because I chose both the DRPI reports and UN publications, here you see our own studies, and for example, you see here in the number 69, Canada first state report submitted to CRPD committee. You can see here everything which we posted so far, and we are going to update the database as we are moving things forward. But also at this point, it's quite comprehensive, and I'm sure you will find useful access to this feature. Here, when you just position the mouse on one particular resource, you can see its bibliographic variables. You see what kind of literature type it is, that it's a DRPI report, from which region it's coming, is it tackling gender, what kind of type of disabilities are covered. So you can see the background of each of the document posted here. So
thanks,
shortly, yeah.
Thanks, Radosh. We want to be sure to leave a little bit of time for some questions. So I think we should stop here and give people a chance to ask us some questions about what we've been through. Well, there you have it. We're giving you the tools and the keys to unlocking what is happening to people with disabilities. We have shown you how to do the monitoring in which your voice is heard. Every individual story matters and is of equal importance and provides a perspective that is different from the laws, policies, and programs provided by governments, by disability organizations, by caregivers, by family. It is your unique story that makes it possible for us to understand how and whether rights are being respected. We want to thank you very much for participating. We will be putting the webinar up on the DRPI website if you want to access. Also, if you would like, we would like to let you know that we will be holding virtual discussions in your regions where there will be more time for discussions if we don't get to your questions today. So visit our website for more information and for the times these will be held. Some will be in English and some will be in other languages. So now we have a few minutes for questions. Oh. I can't see. No. Can you read a question to me?
How long does it take to complete all of the modules?
Oh, that's an excellent question. The first question is, how long does it take to do all the modules? It takes some time to do the modules. I think you can do it all at once, which might take you some hours. However, our suggestion is always, that's pretty tough just to sit down and do that. We would suggest that you do 1 or 2 modules a day. Each module might take you half an hour to an hour, and then do some others on a different day. We don't recommend that you go through all of the 7 modules on the same day, but you could do that. Try one and see what happens.
Do you offer the modules in multiple languages?
Yes, we do. The translation button that you saw, that we showed you on the right-hand side, actually has translations for about 7 languages. It isn't all the languages, but it is quite a number, and I think those will be helpful to you.
Do you offer an offline downloaded version for people with limited access to the internet?
We do have that, and we can offer it if people get in touch with us. We've obviously done this training mainly in the as a train the trainer on the ground process, but now we're putting it up on the web. So we have all those materials available from when we were doing training that was actually in person. So we have those available, and we can make those available to you if you get in touch with us.
Is my course progress saved between visits to the website?
Yes, great question. That was what always worried me as we moved forward on this. Yes, it will be. You'll be able to see, if you actually can see the screen, you'll be able to see that there's a little green indicator. And when Rados was showing us the modules, you could see that green screen because he'd already been through. So at the end of each module, when you press complete, module complete, then it will actually, a little green dot comes up to show you where you are, and you can go back in the same place at another time. You don't have to redo all the modules each time you enter.
Can I access the hub on my mobile?
Yes, I believe you can. In fact, I think Paula Hearn, who's here, who's our project coordinator, was actually engaging in this webinar using her mobile. You certainly can.
Can I share the hub with others in my community?
We would be pleased if you'd share the hub with others in your community. Traditionally, the way we've done this training is we've had a group of people from a community who've come together to learn how to use this methodology. We would be very pleased if you would share it with those in your community, and we hope that when you share it with those in the community, you'll have an incentive to go forward and do a project yourself so that you can look at your own community to see how your community is doing in terms of achieving its rights.
So when the participant makes the online interviews, who analyzes them, and how does the local coordinator access the report?
You will be able to, once you finish all of these modules, you will actually have been given the methodology to be able to do the analysis. It's all very clearly outlined in the report how to do the analysis. So we haven't left out any steps. We don't know any more than you do now that you've got the modules.
Is the only way to be a member that contributes is to have a research partner?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think you can do it. If you're talking about individual interviews and you're doing them in the field, we always recommend 2 people go out to the community to do those interviews. It's a lot easier for you, and you'll see we also recommend that you take a tape recorder with you. I think for those it's best, and with any kind of interviewing that you do generally for the purposes of studies, it's usually best to have 2 people. It makes it much easier to do the interview. In terms of the other parts of the studies, in other words, the media monitoring or the systemic monitoring, it's always easier if you have a few people rather than just trying to do it on your own. And it's designed for it to be a group of people working together.
Is it possible to have books or soft copies of the books? Internet challenges are common in African countries.
Absolutely, it's possible to have those. We have those available, and if you get in touch with us, we'd be happy to send them to you either in a downloadable form, or if you can't have access to a downloadable form, we'd be very happy for you to send them to you. But I think the best way is we could send them online and then you could print them yourself. We don't want to hold any of this material. We developed this material over a long period of time because we want people with disabilities in every community to be able to use it.
So can we use the tools for other human rights monitoring?
You can use the tools for other human rights monitoring. You'd have to adapt it, but you could do that. We started out not doing specialized studies, but as people requested us to adapt the material to Indigenous people, to adapt the material to people with HIV/AIDS, to adapt the material with psychosocial disabilities specifically, we were able to adapt it and use the same methodology. So absolutely, yes. Okay. I'm just looking at the time now, and I think that we could probably close off at this point. Now remember that we want you to keep in touch. You can actually look at our website, and what you'll be able to find out is when we're having more questions and answers. We're going to have other of our officers on those calls, and this is the website that's now up on the screen. We will be putting the webinar on the DRPI website if you want to access it at any time. Also, we would like to let you know that we will be holding those virtual discussions in your regions. We're going to do those reasonably, and we will have the officers from those regions engaging in those question and answers. We'll put up dates and times for those. Let us know what's convenient for you, and we'll work on them. Some of those virtual discussions will be in English, and some will be in other languages so that you can access them in other languages. Not all languages, but the languages that our officers speak. I just want to really thank you on behalf of Radosh and I and the full team for being a part of our work and for your ongoing efforts to enable people with disabilities to be included equally in all societies. We have a long way to go, and you can be part of it, and you can help us to move forward. Thanks so much. Bye, Radosh.
Bye, everybody, on my behalf. Thank you.